You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your favourite podcaster's favourite podcast. The Insight Fantasy Sports Show is back for your Thursday Panic Room. Joining me tonight, well, I suppose I shouldn't even be hosting anymore, Hurls. You're on this more than anyone else. But, how are you, mate?
No, all good, mate. I enjoyed hosting last night, but also happy to hand the reins over to you tonight, mate, for the Panic Room. The Panic Room is your thing, mate. So we're looking forward to just diving into the teams as they drop and see if there's any SuperCoach relevance and who might play, sub and who might do some bits and pieces, etc. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, mighty job you did last night, by the way, mate. I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, quick one as always tonight, ladies and gentlemen. With the Panic Room, we got. I think we're on a bit of a speed run quest tonight, Hurls. How quickly can we turn the TV off after this Essendon GWS game that starts at 7:30? So we want to get you off to watching that GWS slashing as quick as we can, I suppose. So tonight's show is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. Use the promo code on screen, IFS 2025, for 15% off your order on all good products. And yeah, let's just jump straight into tonight's game, mate, because GWS by about 25 million, and we have too many changes.
Just a million of them, and let's be honest, we've got blokes coming back in that we will be preferring not to play, but we have to play them. So, some guys like Dylan Shield, whose papers are stamped, Mal Guelphy, who's probably in the same boat. They're all coming back in because we got more injuries last week. So let's see what happens. I think everyone's expecting it to be massive. Do you want to have a guess at who might be subs in this one, mate?
It should be announced very soon. Harry Rouston's just been announced the sub for GWS, and Zach Johnson's been announced the sub for Essendon. So there you go.
He looked a bit tired last week, Zach Johnson. So I'm not overly surprised.
I think they've sort of decided it's going to be a write-off week, which fair enough. Jade Gresham, Matt Guelphy, Dylan Shield, Vigo Vicentini, Archie Perkins, and Liam McMahon on debut all come in, equaling the record of most debutants for a season. Which, if you told that to me at the start of the season as an Essendon fan, I would have laughed in your face. But we should have expected it with the injuries, I suppose, Hells.
Yeah, we've got 4 people left on the list that haven't debuted yet. So there's a chance that probably maybe, what do we reckon, Unwin might be the closest. Reece Unwin might be the closest to being the record breaker.
I think hopefully none of them get a run home, surely.
You never know.
Out is Ben Hobbs, who's out for a week. Elijah Sardis also out for a week. Toddy Goldstein's managed in this one. Nick Martin, and Will Setterfield, who are both unfortunately out for the season and potentially longer. And Nate Caddy also out for the week. On the GWS side of things, Toby McMullen, Max Graszewski, and Stephen Canelio come back in. Jesse Hogan, Harvey Thomas, and Josh Kelly, all the people to make way. So, quite simply, mate, if you're looking at vice captains in this one, it obviously is going to land on the GWS side of things. Tom Green or Lockie Whitfield, because that's probably the main question. Which one do you go for?
If I had Tom Green, I would say I'd be all in on Tom Green. The only reason, and I've got Lockie Whitfield, the only reason I'm a little reluctant to VC him is we have seen Matt Guelphy tag in the past. I don't know that he's going to, or I don't know if he's going to be effective even if he tries, because I don't see him as quick enough to run with Whitfield, but we might attempt it. So just because of that, I'm avoiding it. But if you've got Tom Green, I don't think we've got a big-bodied mid to go with him. Even if we tried an Archie Perkins in there, I don't know whether that would work. So, yeah, I'd safely go with Tom Green if I had him. And if someone wants to be real spicy and they had Kieran Briggs, he would be very attractive as VC in your like game days and those kind of things that are your one-off games and stuff. I think he could be a good matchup.
So what do we reckon the midfield rotation is for Essendon here? Probably Sam Durham, Zach Merritt, Dylan Shield. They're probably the three main guys. Do we see, Archie Perkins go through there? Mason Redmond, maybe. They've got Matt Guelphy named there, which I hope doesn't happen. But
If
who do you
Guelphy
reckon
starts
the
in the
right
middle,
position?
pray for our midfielders if Guelphy's in there. But I think personally, I said this during the week, I would go Perkins and I would give him a job. His problem isn't ability. His problem is his confidence and in his head. And so I would give him a job on someone like a Tom Green, and I'd just say, mate, just follow him around all night and try to win the footy and see what happens. But whether we do that or not, I don't know. Look, it's a chance to experiment a little bit with some of this stuff. Do we even see them throw Kako in for a couple of centre bounces or something silly like that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's going to be a night for experiments, and it's probably going to not work out, but that's all right. Pretty early on in the week, we found out that Toby Bedford was pretty well locked on to go into Zach Merritt. Do you think that changes?
No, I think that'll hold.
Yeah,
and normally Merritt would probably take him forward, but we don't have a lot of midfielders in the team this week, so I don't know what will happen there. He might have to just suck it up and play on ball and try to beat him.
That's it. And last couple for this game, Oscar Smart, a bit of talk from Essendon fans throughout the week that he could potentially go back and play a bit of defense. He grew up in the Bendigo area as a bit of a defender and sort of transitioned into a small forward just recently. Any chance he probably does do that if they want to stick like a Redmond or something in the midfield?
Maybe. I mean, that was the rumour during the week that he did some training back with the defenders, although this week wouldn't have been much of a training run, both teams off 5-day breaks. But let's see. I don't mind it. At this point of the season, I'm most looking forward to watching the kids for Essendon anyway.
Yeah.
So if we see him in a different role, I can live with that. And looking forward to seeing Liam McMahon. I mean, he's a dead eye. His accuracy. I think he's kicked something like in his VFL career so far. He's kicked something like 110 goals, 40 or something.
Yeah,
really accurate like that. So hopefully he gets the ball down there occasionally and he does get a couple of shots and we can see what he's got.
Yeah, he's. Is he still? Am I right in saying he's still leading the goal kicking for two VFL sides this season?
Carlton, Carlton's leading goal kicker and Essendon's leading goal kicker.
Yeah, he's like 19.4 or something right now for Essendon, and he's played about 5 VFL games. So it'll be a fun watch tonight. Moving on to tomorrow's game, Brisbane Lions versus Doggies, and this is shaping up to be a bit of a cracker. Bruce Reville and Sam Marshall in for Zach Bailey, who copped a 1-week suspension, and Noah Answorth, who's out for the season and potentially longer as well. I got a bit of news that potentially Luke Beacon could have debuted, but they've opted for Sam Marshall. They'll probably play Bruce Reville as that lockdown maybe role. They might choose someone else to be that little sort of lockdown halfback in place of Answorth. I don't know what the plan is there, but we'll see.
It'll be hard to replace Answorth because he's a bit unique. But when you look at their team, they've still got Starcevic, Lester, Wilmot, Fletcher, Levi Ashcroft can run through there as well. So they're well stocked for these types. And then all of a sudden they bring in Sam Marshall, who we all haven't even seen yet, who's a jet as well. Like it's just a kid that hasn't necessarily busted into their best team yet. So they're well stocked. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, there's no doubt Brisbane will be fine, especially in the future. They've got some cracking players coming through their ranks. For the Doggy side of things, Liam Jones makes his way back into the team, which this is sort of a move that you probably had to expect. Doggies have been really struggling down back, key position-wise, and they've just got to try something, don't they? So bringing Jonesy back.
I thought this would have happened about 3 weeks ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a bit of Beveridge being stubborn or what it was, but anyway, he's in now. Their backline's brittle, so I think they had to.
Yeah, well, you look at it here, you've got Bailey Dale, Jason Johannesson, good ball users, Blocky Bramble as well. Lobb has basically been the only one to do anything out of the backline. James O'Donnell's been average. He's been all right when he goes forward, but bring in, Jonesy and Luke Cleary back, 2 big guys. They can definitely show what they've got. Lockie McNeil also coming back in. Nick Caulfield, Cooper Hines, and Josh Dolan, the 3 to make way. in this game, mate, you said it best last night. This is the game that will decide if you're going to have a good week or a bad week, because there is about 12 SuperCoach relevant players in this one.
Yeah, it will. Like it's and Brisbane are that kind of yo-yo team, and it's happened all year that if you've got Dunkley or you got Neil, like they don't always go great in the same game. So, last week the Dunkley owners were high-fiving after Thursday night because he went 150. Neil did okay as well last week, but are one of them going to get a 70, or is a Zorko going to get a 70? That's been the worry all year if you own Brisbane players. But if you've got the right ones, it could be a great start to the weekend, because this game should, by rights, if you just look at the matchups, you would think this is going to be a high-scoring match and a high-scoring SuperCoach match.
100%. And I don't like to bring him up with you here, but Matty Kennedy, he had a bit of a shocker last week. Let's be honest.
He did.
Lost a good chunk of CBAs, especially in the second half. I don't believe he had one in the second half. Do you reckon he gained some of them back this week, or is it that a thing
I think
be wary of?
No, I think he will. I think he just sucked. He just had one of those games, and I watch him closely because he's one of my most unique pods, and so when he's getting 23, it kills every league matchup that I'm in, and he just didn't get to the footy. Like, he was in the centre bounces for the first half, and it just, wherever he went, the ball bounced the opposite way. It was one of those games. I think he'll be back to midfield again for this game, and hopefully he can go a bit better. It might be better suited in this matchup maybe than the Adelaide mids, who are a bit sort of more, the ball sort of flung a bit more in that game, and maybe a bit more contest here maybe.
Which sort of brings into my next point. Matty Kennedy's CBAs dropped. Riley Garcia was one that saw a spike in CBAs, and that's sort of, you'd assume that was a bit of a matchup based. Like, he's a quick young lad who can burst through a pack, and that sort of just maybe worked with the Adelaide team. So I think you're right. I think he probably does earn a few more CBAs back. Look, there's just going to be plenty of massive matchups in this one. Dunkley and Bont, Neil and Libba, Cluggage and Richards. That's just 6 names already that are in a lot of teams. And it's going to be impossible to predict who goes good in this one. So I suppose just, I don't know. That's all we got for this one, I guess. It's just whatever happens.
And if you want to take a punt on a VC, you might get rewarded or you might get stung. So it's going to be interesting to see what the VC numbers and that look like when we look at SuperCoach Gold, and whether people are trusting this game or whether they're just giving it a wide berth because of the tough nature of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's just too many good options that are. Some are going to have to fail, and I guess you just got to expect that in that one. Moving on to Saturday's games, going all the way down to Tasmania for Hawthorn versus Port Adelaide. For the Hawthorn side of things, Bailey McDonald, Jack Scrimshaw, and Mitch Lewis coming back for his first game in over a year. For Cam McKenzie, CJ, and Mabior Chol, who's out for the week. Mitch Lewis, back in. It's been a long-awaited return for these Hawks fans. They like him.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the boys on the first crack last night talking about what's the best matchup here for Hawthorn as the finals come, and Chol has kicked, I think they said 20 goals, 32 goals so far this year in nearly 20 games, but he doesn't have a great finals record, but he is playing second ruck. And so do they go with Deer and Mitch Lewis? This is probably the first time they've played together for ever, if they have at all. Like, I mean, when Lewis has been injured, maybe for Culture Deer's most of his career. So it'd be interesting how that works with Gunston, Deer and Lewis together. And then does Chol come back in as second ruck later? And probably it creates some tension for spots, right? They've got to perform, or if they don't perform, they'll be out. So that's not a bad thing at this time of year. You want everyone hungry. So we'll see how that goes. But Mitch Lewis has looked great when he's played, but he hasn't had a run at it.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. And on the Port Adelaide side of things, we see Logan Evans, Dylan Williams, and Jackson Mead come in for some pretty big omissions and injuries. Connor Rozee, Jason Horne-Francis, and Willie Rioli, the 3 that miss out on this game. Horne-Francis out for the season. Rozee was 50-50 to get up for this one. He hasn't in the end. And we'll see Evans and Williams sort of replace them. Who gets a bit of a spike in potential CBA's numbers with, a Rosie and a Horn Francis missing out, who had heaps of CBAs last week when they were on.
Yeah, it's interesting because they've named Miles Bergman in a back pocket, and that was who I would have thought would go into the midfield, but maybe they worried more about how do they cover Rosie when he's back rather than Rosie mid or Horn Francis mid, and maybe they'll just go with the blokes that they've had for a long time, like your Willem Drew and your Ollie Wines. But I think they're one midfielder short if I look at that. Maybe Jackson Mead goes through there, but they have got Dylan Williams and Josh Sin on the bench, so they can cover Bergman. I think it has to be some of Bergman, but how much I don't know.
Yeah, so just looking back at their previous games, without Horn Francis and when Rosie was back, playing halfback, the CBA rotation was pretty set on being Zach Butters, Willem Drew, Ollie Wines, and Bergman, which I think it's probably got to be pretty close to that. Potentially gives Mead a couple run-throughs or Amani Liddy or something like that, a couple extra ones. But the main ones should be Butters, Wines, and Drew, you'd think, nowadays.
Yeah, and with Hawthorn Hawthorn aren't a dynamic midfield, but they're a rather big-bodied midfield. You got Nash, Warple, Newcomb. So I would have thought it's probably the right time for Bergman to play in the middle. And we know that sometimes these team sheets are full of shit, so he may well do that.
Yeah, 100%, you're right. Interesting one for the Hawthorn side of things, probably their only SuperCoach classic relevant player, Lloyd Meek. A lot of questions about him as sort of the Sherry replacement. Now, really, besides this week, and you sort of preached this to the heavens this week, that his run's really shit after this week. So
it's hard.
Yeah. Look, 34 break even, 540K. Realistically, if you don't have the money to go up to Grundy, I still think he's up there with the best option. The run's hard, but at the same time, it's doable.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Like I've been. It's funny. 3 weeks ago, I was massive on bringing Meek in. I really liked what he could offer, and he's been going really well. But now the fixture just worries me a little bit. Like I've been saying to people, I prefer Marshall over Meek, which 7 weeks ago I was not on Marshall. And I'm just playing fixture here, that's all. Now, Marshall, we know, has 2 rucks at the moment with Heath coming in. So people are going with Meek because he's affordable. I get it. I don't hate it. I'm not trying to talk people out of it. I'm just trying to open their eyes to the fact that he does have a hard fixture. So as long as you go in with your eyes open that his fixture isn't perfect and you're still comfortable with that, then go for it. Because most people can't get up to Grundy, who they would prefer. My number one switch would be absolutely Max Gawn if you don't have him. I think his fixture and price is perfect, but a lot of people already had Gawn, so Sherry, they're looking for someone else.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And realistically, now that Rosie's injured, Horn Francis is out, basically Butters is sort of the only relevant player in this game, and that's really about it, to be honest. So if you had Butters and potentially, you didn't chuck a VC on the first couple of games, could he be an option against Hawthorn?
Yeah, I think so. We heard yesterday that it's going to be wet, windy, and miserable in Tassie. So why not? Butters, that's his kind of game, right? Even Newcomb, if you've got him, I think this game might be a clearance kind of game, a contested game. So I think it's a good shout. I reckon a lot of people, and I do it too, people get impatient. We want to do our VCs on Thursday and Friday nights. And so it'd be interesting whether they pay off or whether some wait for like a Zach Butters in this game and see if there's any payoff for being patient or not.
Yeah, fair call. Moving on to the next game, mate. Sydney Swans versus North Melbourne. Should be another bit of a bloodbath here for the Bloods, to be fair. Peter Laddams and Dane Rampy come back in. Aaron Francis and Tom McCartan, the two to make way. And for North Melbourne, LDU, Callum Coleman-Jones and Bryn Teakle both named. So with Finbar and Tristan Sherry both being out, you expect them two to be the ruck, which let's just put it simply, Brady Grundy, if you have him, captain him, because this could be 700. And Zach Banch also comes in for his debut. But seriously, mate, it's going to be the big talking point out of this game is how big can Brady Grundy go against these guys?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, interesting that they've chosen two different blokes. Like, do they think that Finbar Maley wouldn't be well suited to pair up with one of the other two? I don't know. I don't know them well enough, but yeah, Teakle and Callum Coleman-Jones don't hold much. I don't hold much hope in them being able to go with Grundy in the form he's in at the moment. And then, interestingly, Sydney brought in Laddams, so they've even got the backup ruck there.
Yeah.
So Laddams and McLean can back up Grundy. So it's it could be interesting, but you would expect, I would expect anyway. This is a big win for the Swans.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so the omissions for North Melbourne are Maley, Sherry, who's out for 3 weeks, which we'll jump on Sherry really quickly. I think you'll probably be on the same standpoint as me of on the trade side of things. If you're solely playing for leagues, you're locked into first and second. I think holding Cherry is a perfect move because he comes back second week of finals, which if you're first and second and get the bye, that's your first week of finals. Everyone's not, if you know, they've got trades. No one's going to have him. Tristan Sherry as a pod the last couple rounds sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other time you could hold, even if you're playing for overall and you've got one trade left, if you have 22 primos with Sherry not playing, the flex gives you that ability to just take your 22, right? And you might be able to loop a couple of rookies like an Angus Clark or a Manny Liddy or someone like that to make that 20-second score a bit flexible. If you had that, I think that's not a bad play either, because I don't know I'd use my last trade when you've still got, 6 rounds to go, when you know this bloke's coming back, he's not injured. Whereas if you got trades up your sleeve, absolutely trade Sherry out.
Yeah. Look, like everyone's going, almost everyone would have a 50-50 on who to trade out, whether it be, I think we can sort of rank him. If you have Rosie, he's a hold for me. He's just out for this week.
Yeah.
Then probably Cherry. If you have Tuke Miller, I think he's a trade out. He's going to probably come back around 24. So, and then Horn Francis, Martin, these sorts of guys are out for the year. They're definite trades. So, even just on that, if you've got, more than 2 of them, Tristan Cherry's second. I think he's a hold over these guys. But yes, there is definitely merit in selling, being out for 3 weeks if you've got trades up your sleeve. But if you have the other struggles, he's not too much of a worry for me.
No, absolutely. I think you ordered them right. I mean, the season enders are a no-brainer. They have to go.
Yeah.
Then I think Tuke is the next one that has to go because he's 3 to 4 weeks with a hammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rosie, definite hold. Sherry is a depends on what your problems look like.
Another bit of an interesting watch in this one, and I suppose it's a bit of a Lockie Bramble responsibly, but Charlie Comben has been the one training in Nick Larkey's place, who will miss again today. Just keep an eye out for that. But who potentially goes back to cover him in this one? Because they've got some big guys, but not many defense guys, if we're honest.
Yeah, and they've got big guys, but they're lumbering. So I don't know. I think maybe they'll just have to, if Comben does go forward. I mean, when I look at that, I mean, they've got Will Dawson named at centre half forward. So my natural thought is if they are playing Comben forward, they'll probably swing Will Dawson back. I know he played a bit of forward last week, but maybe that's what they didn't like. So maybe that's why they tried Comben forward in training. I don't know. Yeah. I think they're maybe the 2 swing men. Tom McCartan out presents a challenge for Sydney, although it's just getting the ball down there that I worry about for North, because their backline isn't as good without Tom McCartan there. We saw that earlier in the year. So they've still got Malikan, and Dane Rampy, the post climber, comes back. But I think if this was a bona fide forward line with some tall forwards, they would have fancied their chances too without McCartan. But missing Suvlaki hurts them big time.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You're right. And last sort of one for this game, I think me and you are sort of on the agreement that Braden Campbell probably goes to a North Melbourne halfback, and it's probably Colby McKercher, right?
Yeah, McKercher, and if McKercher floats back to midfield a bit more, he might even go to the little helmet for a little while. But yeah, one of those two, I would personally go to McKercher first. Yeah.
And would James Jordan probably present himself to a Sheasel or an LDU in this one, you reckon?
Yeah, the main midfielder. So LDU probably start on him. Yep. If Sheasel went into the middle and got off the chain, he might go there too. But I think LDU's the one they normally go to.
Yeah, 100%. And just this last one for Higo here. Was there any more news on Mills after training today? He has passed his fitness test. He should be right to play this weekend, barring any late setbacks. But he's fine to play. So any Mills owners, rejoice. Moving on to probably the worst. These two games. We'll spend like 2 minutes on each of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 7:35 and the 8:10 slot. In the 7:35 slot, we have Carlton versus Melbourne, which gross. Will White makes his long-awaited return with Francis Evans and Adam Sard back in for Mitch McGovern, who was out for a couple of weeks. Orazio Fantasia, who done another hammy, and Alex Chincotta, who's also out. Stephen May comes in as well as Harry Sharp in for Jake Lever and Tom Sparrow. Realistically, mate, SuperCoach options and SuperCoach wise in this one. If you have George Hewitt and if you have Christian Petrarca, they probably play on each other, don't they?
Yeah, they probably will. And I think the other one people are probably happy to see that, although they won't be happy to see where he's named, but I don't think he'll play there. But Chera is okay. So there's a bit of a rumor last week that he wasn't, but he's got up, so that's good. For people who still hold him, I don't think he'll play wing, although the talk this week of Akers being out and maybe looking for a fourth club tells you that they do need a winger, but it looks like Cooper Lord to me off that bench would play the other wing.
Yeah, I look to Ollie Hollins, who's been named in the midfield. I doubt that sticks. There's a few things that will switch. Like Ashton Moyer is about 215 centimeters, and he's named on a wing, so that'd be the interesting matchup if he played against Harvey Langford. I'll tell you what. TDK in this one, named full forward. Pitnet's in for a long time. If you have TDK, sell. I think we've been over this past couple of weeks, but realistically, mate, in this one, there's not too much. Besides sort of, if you haven't really been struck by the injury bug, I suppose, Sam Doherty, he's one that the horses sold this week. And but yeah, if you haven't been struck by the injury bug, is it fair to sell him this week?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he's been a great. So I called this last week, and Max, you're 100% right. We'll put your comment up here. Carlton bias is prevalent. Every time I talk about Carlton, you know that I am biased. So just take that for what it is. I'm not trying to hide it. I don't like Carlton at all. I hate them. But I do like Sam Doherty. I think he's been a great servant of this footy club for a long time. And I think his time's coming to an end, though. Let's be honest. So SuperCoach-wise, I think it worked for a few weeks. People bought him in. I don't think he's going to be very consistent for you. So, I mean, no one's got spare trades, though. If Horse could move him on, he mustn't have had too many injuries this week. So that's lucky for him. But I do think Sam Doherty's been a brilliant player for a long period of time, and his time's coming to the end. That's all.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. But yeah, that's where the sort of the SuperCoach relevancy ends in this game. And we move on to West Coast versus Richmond, who Richmond making 0 changes for probably the first time in a while. With West Coast, Jack Petruccelli comes back in after multiple weeks in the waffle. Tim Kelly comes back in, and so does Liam Ryan. With Malachi Champion omitted, Noah Long omitted, and Elijah Hewitt, interestingly enough, managed, which sort of might affect people's bench cover in this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think a few people had him and were hoping he plays. He usually goes better at home than he does away, and this would have been a nice game for him, I think, playing against Richmond. But he's being managed, and the bigger picture always has to count for more than this week. So they obviously rate him really highly, and he's been a few times this year he's played sore, so that he gets a week's rest, fair enough. He's a good little player. Yeah,
100%. SuperCoach relevancy-wise, there's really only one guy, and I will bring up Josh Stranger's tweet, the Whisperer. His comment here. Hi, James. Why does SuperCoach Optimize want me to play McCarthy over Zorko? It's because Tom McCarthy is fantastic at AFL football, and I've seen people genuinely willing to, Kizza being one of them, but we know how he goes, willing to captain McCarthy this week. And I don't hate the idea, mate. If you want to find a serious pod, he's going to be one.
I'm not sure. My season's over, and I'm still not sure I'll be captaining him. I think you could vice captain him if you want to get a bit spicy, like go for that kind of thing. But I don't know. I'd trust a mid-season draft pick as a captain. Like I sort of get it. Why are the optimizer telling you to play him over Zorko? Pretty simple. They just look at the maths, and their projection obviously has McCarthy getting a higher score than Zorko this week. That's all.
They'd also optimize and tell you to have McCarthy playing over Sheasel, over Whitfield, over Caleb Daniel, over McRae, over all these guys, just from what he scored. So that's we love SuperCoach, and it's optimizer. But seriously, I people that are going on Tom McCarthy as a VCC, I don't hate it, but geez,
different.
It reeks of you praying for a Carlton game. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It's a. I'm so cooked that I need to do something silly here.
May as well try something.
And trying something. So, but that's okay. Why not?
Yeah, I don't look. I'm not going to talk you out of it if you're very far down the ranks. Why not at this rate? Moving into Sunday's games, we've got some extended benches to go through. Mitch Nevitt, Tyson Stengel, and Sam De Koning, who all probably not all. Stengel and De Koning are potentials to come back in for Geelong. I don't know who really drops out straight away, but there's a few guys up for debate. And Georgie Stevens is one of them. He's probably one that if you brought him a couple weeks ago, he's probably one that will drop out. And on the St Kilda side of things, Zach Jones named on the extended with Darcy Wilson, Ryan Burns, and Ari Schoenmaker. Dan Butler is confirmed out, so there will be at least one replacement for the St Kilda side of things. As you brought up before, mate, Rowan Marshall, he's sort of the other big option that people are looking at between Cherry, the trade out, and Meek. Does Max Heath worry you? Is the big question I'm asking.
Oh, look, I understand people who are concerned because it's now a dual ruck setup. I think Marshall's CBAs went from 88 or 9 the week before to 70 last week. So they did drop. They had a drop. He's still the main ruckman. So it's not like a TDK issue where he's, the bloke coming in has to be main ruck or he's useless. Max Heath is in because he's a better forward ruck than Isaac Keeler. That's the alternative. So I think it's okay. I still think I like the fixture of Rowan Marshall, but I do understand those that are concerned and saying, gee, I don't want to pick a bloke if he's not the solo ruck. But I think Marshall, we learnt on Tuesday night, for those who are members, we did the numbers pod, and Marshall gets a lot of his points from disposals, kicking a goal. It's not hit outs and hit outs to advantage. So I still think Marshall's not a bad play.
100%. And also just news on another St Kilda ruckman that sort of we think's a myth. Harry Boyd.
Yeah,
he copped a back injury a couple of weeks ago that no one even told me about, but he's a potential to come back in the VFL next week. So there you go.
So he's gone from everyone in SuperCoach asking, is Boyd coming in to screw my VC score every week? To now, is Boyd coming into the VFL this week? So he's now a potential
to play over Alex Dodson. Yeah,
he's a potential into the VFL now, not AFL. Beautiful,
unreal. Few bounce back potentials in this one, and I think you'll agree. Bailey Smith and Max Holmes, they look on for a bounce back in this one.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, it'll be interesting. I've been a big advocate of the left field curveball in of the week being Marcus Windhager. I really like, if I had a trade and because I got Nick Martin now who's sitting on the bench for the rest of my year because I'm out of trades. If I had a trade, I reckon I would have taken a punt on Windhager and hoped that Ross didn't tag. But if he does tag one of those two this week, I wouldn't fall over, put it that way. But I hope, given what I've seen over the last 2 weeks, I hope they don't tag with him anymore. I think he's a useful footballer, and tagging is no use to him. So I hope they persist with him as a ball winner.
Yeah, I hope so too. He looks good. He's a genuinely good footballer when he's not tagging. So it'd be nice to see him get a proper run at it again this week. Some guys who I guess you can't even really say they had down games, but Nasai Rangan-Miller, he's just a freak. He's so good at football. And Jack Sinclair as well. He had a 106. But yeah, Nasai 86 while getting basically hugged last week.
Yeah.
You'd expect with probably no one in Geelong to go with him, he'll have a good time in this one.
Maybe, well, I don't know. It's a hard one because the way he plays, he's going to get disposals anyway. And do you change your structure to suit this? Like Geelong have some players they can give accountable roles to, like Ocean Mullen and Connor, and probably those two are the two that would be most relevant. But to put them onto Nas, you're playing them as a forward. That changes the balance and the structure of your lineup. So I don't know if they'll necessarily worry about that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And I think for that bloke who sent Nas those vulgar messages, I think you get more your 25 disposals that you're after, mate. I hate blokes like that. Stupid. Without diving too far into it. Moving on to the next game, Collingwood versus Fremantle, which sees Collingwood sort of get to rest some more guys, but unwillingly this time. Dan Houston and Jeremy Howe both out for 2 weeks, and Tim Membry's managed for this week. Named on including the extended bench, we got Bo McCreary, Ed Allen, Will Parker, Brody Myercheck, Pay Lipinski, and Charlie Dean. We probably expect Lipinski, Myercheck, and Allen or McCreary. There'd be the couple guys. There's definitely guys.
I think Dean has to play. They've got no tall defenders.
Yeah, Dean will have to play. Yep.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one for Collingwood because Collingwood have got most things covered. Tall defenders is the one spot that they're a little bit vulnerable with Billy Frampton injured, and now with Jeremy Howe injured as well. It really does expose Darcy Moore as their only defender. Charlie Dean isn't really a key defender size. He sort of is, but he's in between. So Maynard might have to play a bit taller. Perryman might have to play a bit taller. And Freo have got a couple of blokes who might stretch them. So with Josh Tracy, they might even get the resting ruckman to rest down there. So Jackson or Darcy when they have a bit of a spell, Patrick Voss and these guys. So I think they'll back themselves to win enough territory to win the game. But if Freo get enough clean looks, that defence might be a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you sort of look at the lineup they've got there, even on the Freo side of things. They've named basically 4 key forwards, 4 tall forwards, up against Collingwood's 2 key defenders in Dean and Moore. You expect probably Moore to go to Tracy, Dean to probably go to Amiss, unless they just sort of go, Amiss has been shit this year. Let's just leave him. Let's go to Voss or the other ruckman. And but there's definitely going to be a few matchups down there if Freo can get the ball down there. And on the Freo extended bench, we see Hayden Young making his return, who will play AFL this week, I've been told. Neil Erasmus and Brandon Walker also in. So, yeah, 2 guys returning from pretty long injuries back in. Any tags for Nick Dacos in this one? Potentially a Corey Wagner, or is he sort of going to get let free?
I think Wagner goes to him. It worked last time, so they'll go that way again, at least for the start, and see what happens. It looked like he got him last time, but I wonder if that had something to do with the knock that he got early as well. So he did spend a lot of time forward after the knock. So let's see. But I think they're mad if they don't try it early and see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. And another guy who's sort of just jumped into SuperCoach relevancy again for Collingwood, his brother Josh Dacos with a 198 last week. Can we see potentially Josh play some more midfield again this week, or is that sort of just a dying dream now?
I'm not 100% sure on this. This is just my gut feel. I think McRae will use this really sparingly. I don't think it's like the the ace in the pocket. I don't think he'll go to Josh Dacos as a midfielder now. I think he'll go back-to-back flank and he'll play the role he's played all year. But he knows that he's got that in his pocket. If he just needs to switch something up or do something a little different, I think that's how he'll use it rather than go to it more often. It'll be just when you need it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's definitely look, I tell you what, they're not doing bad for themselves, Collingwood. Let's just put it that way. On the Freo side of things, it should be a clean run for Sarong, Brayshaw, and Clark and these sorts of guys. And my C actually rests on Jordan Clark this week, just basically off the last time he played Collingwood, he went all right, and he's been in decent form. And could we potentially see some more big scores from these sorts of guys, these Freo guys, or is it tough matchup? Do they just back to a bit of an average game?
Well, I think you can probably have your C on any of those blokes. I think if you got Brayshaw, Sarong, Jordan Clark, I would trust them in this matchup because Collingwood will play system. They don't worry about who they're playing against, and you can get some big SuperCoach scores against them. So I would captain them if that's the way you want to go.
Yeah, we've got some stats to back that up for sure as well. With Brayshaw last time playing against Collingwood in round 9, 154. Geordie Clark went 146, and Sarong himself, who at the time was going pretty ordinary, still went 105. So, there's definite merit to captaining any one of the Freo guys, and I think that's probably my tip is go for one of them because it's a pretty tough week for captains. But I don't mind any of the Freo guys, to be honest. Yep. Moving on to this last game, right? Yep, the Adelaide versus Gold Coast finished the week. For Adelaide, the extended bench contains Chris Burgess, Luke Pedlar, Hugh Bond, Luke Nankervis, and Nick Murray. Braden Cook and Jordan Butts both out injured, so you probably expect Nick Murray and potentially Luke Nankervis to come back in, maybe a Pedlar, but Nick Murray will be one that'll be in for sure. And on the Gold Coast side of things, Tuke Miller out for multiple weeks with that hammy injury. Sam Collins comes back in, Ned Moyle extended bench, as well as two pretty hyped up preseason guys in Leo Lombard and Ben Jepson named on the extended bench. But look, last game of the week, if you don't go to C in that sort of last game, or you have anyone else like a Brody Grundy, people will look to guys like Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, and Jordan Dawson, and I don't mind them in this one, Hurls.
I agree. Like the last game, I mean, Adelaide can sometimes put a little bit of time in. So maybe a Peatling goes, I think he went to Matt Rowell for extended periods in the last game they played against each other. So he could try to do some kind of stoppage defensive work at least. But Jordan Dawson will probably run free. Gold Coast don't tag. We see that every week. So I think Dawson will be popular as people's captain as a backup. I think every week you can think about Nando's and Rowell if you've got them. So don't mind those plays.
Yeah, 100%. Jordy Dawson inking a new 4-year deal today. So congrats to him on getting the money. Even just $100,000, mate, would be nice. Do we potentially see? I know Broads has John Noble as a bit of a pod pick. Could we potentially see a Ben Keys or a Neil Bullen put some time into a Gold Coast halfback in this one?
They could. Like Adelaide are the kind of team that do that occasionally, so it's something to watch out for. I vaguely remember this game earlier in the year as one. I want to say it's the one where John Noble got 50 points in the first quarter, and then they clamped him. I think it was the Adelaide game. I could be wrong.
I think I remember it. There was. I had Matt Rowell in this game, and he had about disgusting amounts of points, and then James Peatling went on him and held him to one SuperCoach point in the quarter. Yeah, that's the only thing I sort of remember from this game. It was about round 3 or round 4 that they played. So
yeah.
This game was a cracker last time they played. It was only 1 point. That's right. This was the big Mark controversy game.
It was, yeah, and then you had the brawl after the game with Mac Andrew, and we'll call it a brawl. That's a bit
little
exaggerated.
And whatnot.
Just little wrestle. Riley Thilthorpe and Mac Andrew. I don't think Mac Andrew's had a kick since, so I don't know if that got in his head or what. But
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, for sure there is definitely some options in this one. I think the main guys, Dawson, Nando's, and Rao, you can't really go against.
Yeah. A sneaky play. Yeah, I think you're going to go the same bloke. I was just going to say Bailey Humphrey is going to get 2 CBA time. So anyone who's thinking Sam Flanders shelved that idea, Bailey Humphrey's the man. And if you want to take a real punt and bring in a bit of a spicy forward for one of your injuries, I think if you've got Pickles or if you've got Nick Martin, I think Bailey Humphrey could be a good play. Yeah,
I think 100% Humphrey's the one to get the CBAs. There's no doubt in my mind with that. He's sort of one that if you've got 2 big injuries and you have a Sherry and you have someone else, what do you reckon? Like if you can go Sherry and another big injury player, let's just say a Horn Francis or something, to Grundy and Humphrey, would you do that 100% over anything else? Or
Yeah, if you can get both of them, I would absolutely do it. I don't like I've seen some combos that have got Grundy and then a real risky guy like a Dewar from West Coast or someone else said what's the North bloke? Boomer's kid, Cooper Harvey.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the total, riding one player off to get Grundy, but if you can go Grundy and Humphrey, I'd definitely take that gamble.
And one last quick one. Sam Berry's named on Noah Anderson in this one. Potentially does a job on him. I know Sam Berry has done a job in the past, but is sort of just Nick's just using him as the CBA guy now, do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to read what Adelaide do. I mean, they didn't... Yeah. They didn't really go after the Bulldogs blokes last week specifically, did they? Bont went big. Libba still did okay. Richards did okay. So I think they're in the sort of frame of mind of see how the game unfolds before we go tagging anyone. But let's see.
Yeah, 100%. So that'll do us for the games tonight. We've got a couple questions here that we'll get through before we go and watch, as Frankie says, your team lose, Hurls.
I think like Deadly and I, the panic room's just short and sharp. Get through the teams, but we're prolonging it because we don't want to go and watch the TV. So I'll be honest, the more we're talking here, the less we have to watch Essendon.
There is a good chance that when 7:31 hits, the TV will be off. But we'll jump with some questions really quickly. Just quickly from Max, he loves the panic room and he gets to watch it live as the Young Blokes footy train has been cancelled. So thanks to you, Max, for your support. And good to have you with us. From Aaron, who has the best next 2-game fixture will average the most need for home and away season in leagues? So just looking at even this week, there's, obviously guys like Brodie Grundy. I think he pretty sure he said under 560. So if we have a look at, there's some guys like I don't know how expensive Finn Callahan is now. He's too expensive.
Yeah, but he's nearly 600.
Even like anyone who has a Essendon matchup in the next couple of weeks, or the Richmond West Coast type of areas, there's just some big score potential just in that.
What was the price?
So, under 560 was the go.
Does Richards fall in that category, or is he just too expensive?
Richards is 550.
Yeah, he could be one because they've got next week. Yep. They got the Bombers next week. Now he might get a little tag this week, and you might want to hope that he rides that one out. But the other one, if you've got a Freo bloke with Collingwood this week, West Coast next week, I think they come into play. So a Sarong or a Brayshaw.
What about
Geelong
a guy
got a great run?
What about a guy like it? We'll throw him out there, Josh Dacos. He's got Freo this week, but he's got Richmond next week, and I feel like you can't really go wrong as long as you got Richmond. So there's some definite guys there. I reckon. I think you said it the best actually. If you don't have a Sarong, a Brayshaw, or a Clark, I think they're my favourites. Because
they're the three.
Easy.
They've got to.
Yeah, Collingwood's easy, and then West Coast next week. We know how that goes.
And Brayshaw's 546. I think Sarong's not much different.
He's 524. Clark's about 505 or something, maybe a bit more expensive.
Whichever of those three you don't have, if you are playing 2 weeks, that's what I would recommend for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. From Corey, What would you take for Angus Clark over Hasty this week? And I don't think it's going to be much. Probably, I think Clark is probably safe for a 50. And I'd trust a 50 over Hasty.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, with any of these kind of decisions with rookies, if you can steal a 65 out of them, beautiful. If you can get a 55, you'd probably think about it, given that the replacement is another bloke who's not very capable. Yep. So that's where
You've definitely got some days and time in between. Like there is no guarantee that Hasty even plays or is not the sub. He's played the last 2 weeks, the full games, and he scored 50 and 35. So just even by that, I'd say anything over 50, I'd take for Clark.
Yeah.
There's no point risking it, really. Hasty has no big ceiling.
Yeah.
Tragic Gaming. Who should I get as a replacement for Cherry if he can't afford Grundy? It's sort of Meek or Romo would be the top two, right? Now that we've decided.
I still like.
I personally lean Meek. You lean Romo. I don't think you can really go wrong with either. But look, just if you're purely based on leagues, go Romo, I reckon.
Yeah. The fixture's the thing that gives me confidence with him. The other one, I know some people in the chat not loving him. Maxie thinks he's a donkey, but I don't mind Timmy English. He's got the Bombers next week.
I don't English or Meek. I don't think you can really go wrong, to be honest. Yeah. Like everyone's stressing over these sorts of English Marshall Meek decisions. I think they'll all score pretty well the same. They'll probably all average out to about 105. I don't think you can really go wrong.
Agree. And none of them have done that much wrong for the year anyway. No. I think you can go with any of those.
Just like even if you think like maybe resting wise, there's none of them are going to rest. Like at this stage, you should be fine. I don't mind any of them. Last hit one here from Alex. Help me choose my flex. I'm assuming this is draft or something tonight. Dylan Shield as the mid roll now, or Toby Green. And I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Flex for Classic. Out of them two, I think Toby Green.
Do you have to? Is that who you've got? It's hard to
range. What's the
hard to know, Alex. If that means you're trading one of them in, I would strongly advise against trading either of them. But if you've already got them, that's a different story.
Yeah. So 372 looks like the price range is anywhere from there down. Let's have a look. 372.
Can we get Humphrey, or is he too expensive? No, he's 438.
Holly Reid, Ross Garcia, Harvey Langford. Yeah, it's gross pickings here.
I wouldn't go Shield because I don't guarantee Shield's playing next week.
Nah. Out of them two, Toby Green for sure.
Yeah, if it's out of those two only, then absolutely Toby Green.
But there definitely is. There's not much floating about realistically, if we're honest. At the price range,
that price range is yuck. The other thing is the other thing you could do if you really want to be adventurous, you go Aaron Cadman or something like that and hope he kicks 10 tonight if you're trading in.
How much is Josh Tracy actually? Because he's one that I sort of preached about a couple of weeks ago. He's 400. Yeah. And he's been all right. He doesn't really score under 70. But Christ.
Nothing in this price range is attractive. So, Alex, It's hard for us to answer your question knowing, like, maybe you're just saying you've got those two and you've got to play one of them. If that's the question, then definitely Toby Green. But if you're trading into it, we'd prefer neither. Probably it would be Green, though, if I had to pick one of those two.
It's probably a fair call. I completely forgot that everyone just doesn't have Gawn anymore. Gawn's number one.
100%. Tragic.
Number one.
Gawn is number one trading if you don't have him for Sherry, for sure.
I just forget that everyone doesn't automatically have him. But yes, Gawn is number one for sure. Don't even overthink that. And from Josh, hey boys, what's better, Cherry to Gawn and JFH to Humphrey, or Cherry to Grundy and Rosie to Humphrey? I prefer the Cherry to Gawn, the first one. Cherry and Horn Francis to Gawn and Humphrey over.
Yeah.
Because I think Rosie's a fine hold. It's just this.
Yeah, I think purely on the fact that Horn Francis is cooked, he's not coming back, and Rosie will. So you've got to. I'm assuming you're down on trade, so
if
get rid of the bloke who's not coming back.
If you go off that, Rosie will come back and score primo scores. It's basically
Yes.
three primos versus 2, and Grundy's like, he's good, but he's not good enough to outscore another primo.
No, agree.
Simple enough. And thank you, Max. That'll do us for tonight. I assume we'll go. We got 5 minutes till the Essendon game and 6 minutes till the TV's off. But we thank you for joining us tonight, Hurls. Thanks for jumping on the panic room with me tonight. Appreciate it, mate.
My pleasure, mate. Like we said, we're reluctant. We didn't want to watch any pre-game rubbish with Essendon, so we don't even know if we want to tune in for the game. But we will do that. We'll see how we go. Hopefully, everyone has a good SuperCoach week and you get your VCs right.
Yes, that's it. Tom Green VC is locked and loaded. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on Sunday.